the older I get, the more and more I realize the reason why I have not reached the levels of success that I always wanted was not because it's not because I don't know what to do, but rather just because I've not been doing enough of that thing to get me the things I want. And that's a really tough pill to swallow, because you start to reach the point where you realize this is all my fault. And when you realize that, it hurts, because you realize that you're the problem. But it's also music to your ears, because you realize, since I am the problem, I am the solution. And the reason why I was bringing that up is because, door-to-door is something I've been doing now I started door-to-door first time ever 3 years ago. And even though I knew 3 years ago I need to stick with it, I was young, I wasn't as mentally matured. I didn't have as much mental discipline as I do now. And guess what happened? I ended up quitting. I did it for a week. I knew I had to do it to grow my business. Don't get me wrong, it was tougher because I had no one to teach me. But if I would have stuck with it, I guarantee you I would have been way better today than I currently am, because I would have had 3 years of experience. I would have 3 years of getting used to rejection and overcoming it, and then closing. If I would have done that, I would have been a killer. And I'm now facing the same problem all over again. It's like, okay, what do you do, Aaron? Do you run away from door to door like you always have, but it's going to keep on calling you? Or do you confront it? And I'm at the point in my life now where, I realize that when door to door, these past couple weeks, I've been starting to reach the point where it's been breaking me mentally. Like, I would be out in turf, walking around all day, and then I would just so I'll be working all day, then I'll reach this mental block. After I would just get a no. Even if the person wasn't even mean, I would just reach this point where I'm like, God damn, I don't think I can take anymore. And then I'll start to slow down. I'll start to sit on the side of the curb, or I'm walking, thinking okay, Aaron, I gotta go. I gotta get back to work. I just gotta get back to work. I just couldn't get out of my head. And it's funny because there's this thing that Brandon Carter says, and he says, being a bitch is a muscle. He says the more you tell yourself you have to do something, and the more you justify not doing it, you're making that bitch muscle stronger. That's probably not the best way to put it, but he said it, and that's what resonated with me. And then the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was watching a thing by David Goggins with Andrew Huberman, and basically they were talking about how, I'll give you the short version, basically resilience is actually, there's a scientific name for that part of your brain, I forgot what it's called, but basically what it means is the more you do things that you hate, not things that are hard, but things that you hate, the bigger that thing in your brain becomes, which then makes you more resilient, and your willpower then increases. So it becomes easier for you to do things that suck. But what happened to me is, even though door-to-door is something that in the past I definitely hated, and don't get me wrong, I don't really enjoy door-to-door, I've just been reprogramming my brain to make myself love it. So even though door-to-door is one of those things that everyone knows pretty much for the most part sucks, even though in the past what I used to do is when things would get really hard and I would be getting just killed on the doors, I would continue to push even if I was just going through the motions. But what ended up happening was that my willpower, I just started, for some reason, one day I thought, you know what, why don't I just take a break instead of going so hard? And guess what happened? I ended up going in this constant cycle where all I do now when things get hard is I take a break, then which results in me getting in front of less people. Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, being in a great headspace is important and all that stuff, but also reality is you start to get to the point where, number one, the more you experience something, the less you care. So the more people tell you no, the less you care. So even though it's okay, today, I'm sitting on the side of the curb because I just can't handle this rejection, the more you just toughen it out, the less you care. And eventually you can get 100 no's in a day and you don't even care, because you just know that, okay, well, I just need one more no and then I'll get a deal. Long story short, basically what I'm saying is, the reason why I have never been successful to the level I want to be is simply because I just wasn't tough enough. I always knew what I needed to do, I just never did it. There's lots of people out in the world. I don't mean to bring up fitness, but it's the easiest one to bring up. Lots of people, they're like, I need to go to the gym, I need to lose weight. But guess what? They never do. Even though they all know what to do. But they don't, because they don't have that willpower. I'll give you the short version, guys, but basically willpower is a muscle in it's a part of your brain that strengthens. The more you do things that suck, the easier it becomes to do things that are hard. They found that overweight people, when they started going on a diet, that part of their brain actually became stronger. And it's funny because lots of people that I know, this is actually happens to them. specifically for my industry, when they first get in the door to door, they really hate it. And then after that, they've been doing it for a while, so then they can become a closer. They don't have to knock doors anymore. Then people can just call them. They go to the leads. And guess what happens? As soon as they start to do that, they still make a lot of money, but they would have made way more money if they would have kept that dog in them and just kept on, knocking doors and then closing their own appointments. So basically what I'm saying is, chances are you probably know what you have to do to be successful, but you don't want to do it. For me, I'm kind of at the point of crossroads in my life. I know where I want to go at this point in my life, and I've known for the past 6 years. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I'm now at the point in my life where I kind of feel conflicted because I know what I need to do, but I haven't done it because I'm terrified of what's going to happen if I end up making that decision. I'm not going to end up revealing what the plan is because lots of my family members watch these videos, and I don't want anyone trying to talk me out of it, because all those people that are going to talk me out of it, I do not want to be where any of them are, because the reality is the people I want to be like are literally less than 1% of the population. They're like 0.0125% of all the people on Earth, because I'm not here to be, a 1%er. I'm not trying to be better than the majority. I'm trying to be the best of all time. And that is all that I will strive for. So, moral of the story is, if it's hard, good. If you hate it, good. Keep on doing that thing. Keep on embracing the hate. And instead of saying, oh my God, this sucks, say, oh my God, I'm so happy this is so difficult, because since it's hard, no one else is going to do it. And then since it's hard, no one else is going to do it, that means the riches are made in that field.